There's a thief draining your trading account. Every time you lose a trade, it smirks. Not the market, not the whales, it's you. Shocking? Good. Because this isn't a story about indicators, candle patterns, or risk management. This is about the war most traders never survive long enough to even realize they're in. A war against the self-destructive ego disguised under a harmless label: emotion. You said, "I have a plan." 10 minutes later, you shattered it. You promised, "This time will be different." And then entered the trade. Shaky hands, racing heart, foggy brain, driven not by logic, but by fear or greed. That's not a mistake. That's psychological suicide. Self-sabotage is not a weakness. It's a fully automated, deeply embedded behavior, silently running in the background since the day you entered the market. And don't think you're immune. No one is. You can study every system in the world, but one emotional lapse can wipe out an entire month of discipline. And the cruelest part, you know it. You know it damn well. And you still do it. That's why this video won't sugarcoat anything. I'm going to rip the mask off the darkest parts of your trading psychology, the parts you've avoided naming. I'll expose the inner saboteur, the shadow version of you that hijacks every impulsive trade. And then I'll show you how to delete that program from your nervous system, layer by layer. If you're brave enough to face the truth about yourself, then step in right now. The door is open. Welcome to the channel. This isn't where you come to chase setups. This is where you come to rebuild the operator. We don't teach you how to outsmart the market. We show you how to stop sabotaging yourself, because the truth is brutal. Most traders don't lose to charts. They lose to their own chaos. If you're done with impulsive trades, emotional spirals, and silent burnout, you're in the right place. Here we don't just trade better, we become better. Let's begin. Let's evolve. You're not losing to the market, you're losing to yourself. Let's stop pretending. You're not losing trades because the market is unfair. You're not bleeding capital because you didn't study enough. You're losing because deep down, you're sabotaging your own success. That's hard to hear, isn't it? But it needs to be said. According to multiple industry reports, over 80% of retail traders lose money within their first 2 years. That's not a stat. That's a warning label. A silent scream buried beneath blown up accounts and broken confidence. And yet, here's the twist. Most of those traders aren't stupid. They've watched the courses, read the books, followed the gurus. They even created trading plans, risk protocols, back-tested strategies, you name it. So why do they still lose? Why does the same trader who knows not to enter during high volatility still slam the buy button on an impulsive spike? Why do people who understand exactly what a good setup looks like still ignore it in the heat of the moment? It's not knowledge they lack. It's self-control, emotional mastery, nervous system discipline. Let me tell you about a trader I once knew. Let's call him Ryan. Ryan had the charts, the setup, the backtest results, everything. His strategy had a 62% win rate on paper, but none of that mattered when the market started to move fast. One morning, Bitcoin surged 3% in 10 minutes. Ryan hadn't seen his usual entry signal, no confirmation, no confluence, but his mind screamed, if you don't get in now, you'll miss the whole move. So he clicked. Market buy, full position, no stop loss, because in that split second, it wasn't strategy that spoke. It was FOMO. And right after his entry, the market reversed. You already know the rest. Liquidated, not because the strategy failed, but because Ryan couldn't trust himself to follow it. Sound familiar? You've probably done the same. You've probably told yourself, just one more trade to break even. This time I'll stick to the rules. I've learned my lesson. But you didn't. Because this isn't about logic. It's about compulsion, conditioning, reflex. You've been trained by dopamine loops and emotional triggers to act against your own best interests. Think about it. You know you should wait for confirmation. You know, revenge trading is a trap. You know, over leveraging will blow your account, but you still do it. over and over and over. That's not a lack of skill, that's self-sabotage. And here's the part no one wants to admit. You are your biggest threat in this market, not the whales, not manipulation, not liquidity hunts or stop runs. You. You sit there, staring at the screen, telling yourself this time you'll stay disciplined. But when that candle spikes, when the setup almost looks right, when the P&L starts flashing green, suddenly you forget everything. You react, you chase, you hope, you abandon all that planning and precision and gamble like a slot machine addict. And what's worse, you know it's wrong as you're doing it. That's the brutal truth. So ask yourself, why do intelligent, hardworking, well-educated traders fall into the same destructive cycles? Why do you, someone who's watched hours of trading psychology content, still give in to the same impulses? Here's the answer. Because you haven't learned to trade yourself yet. You've studied the market, but you've ignored the monster inside your own mind. That inner voice, the one that whispers, just one more trade. The emotional spike that feels like urgency but is really panic. The body tension that triggers you into action when you should be still. That's not you thinking. That's you being hijacked. And if you don't take this seriously, if you keep blaming the market or bad luck or the system, then you'll keep spinning in circles, losing money, not because you lack potential, but because you refuse to confront your internal sabotage pattern. The good news? This is fixable, but only if you stop lying to yourself. Only if you're ready to look at the real enemy, not outside, but within. So here's the brutal truth. You're not losing to the market. You're losing to the version of you that hasn't been trained. And until you deal with that version, no strategy will save you. No indicator will protect you. No signal service will change your results, because the real war isn't on the chart. It's in your nervous system, your habits, your beliefs, your identity. In the next section, we're going deeper. We'll break down what self-sabotage actually is from a neurological, emotional, and behavioral perspective, not theory, reality. Because once you see it for what it really is, you'll never look at your losses the same way again. And more importantly, you'll know exactly where to start winning, from the inside out. What is self-sabotage and how it hijacks you? Let's name the enemy. You've seen it, you've felt it, you've fallen for it. That moment when logic vanishes and you become someone else. Not the disciplined trader, not the calm strategist, but the reckless, impulsive version of yourself. The one who knows better and still clicks the damn button. That right there is self-sabotage. And it's not random. It's not weakness. It's not a personality flaw. It's a predictable, repeatable program running in your nervous system, like malware disguised as your own voice. Let's break it down. The invisible program behind every bad trade. Self-sabotage is any behavior where you act against your own self-interest, not because you're unaware, but because you're emotionally hijacked. In trading, it shows up like this. You know you should wait for confirmation, but you enter early. You said you'd stop after 2 losses, but you double your size on the third. You see a perfect setup, but freeze and miss it. You place a stop loss and then move it and then remove it altogether. These aren't strategy errors. These are emotional reflexes disguised as decisions, and they all trace back to one thing. Your brain is not wired for trading. It's wired for survival. Why your brain is working against you. When you enter a trade, your brain doesn't see a calculated risk. It sees danger. It sees uncertainty. It sees potential loss, which to your subconscious feels like death. So it activates your limbic system, the emotional center. Adrenaline spikes, cortisol floods, heart races, hands sweat, logic shuts down. This is not a bug. This is biology. And it worked perfectly back when we were running from tigers. But in the markets, it's catastrophic. Your prefrontal cortex, the rational planning part of your brain, gets overridden by your survival brain. You stop trading your plan. You start trading your fears. That's self-sabotage. FOMO, revenge, overtrading, all from the same root. Think about the last time you chased a green candle. You probably told yourself it was momentum, but deep down it was FOMO, fear of missing out. That's not just emotion, that's a neurochemical loop. FOMO activates dopamine, the reward chemical. Your brain sees someone else making money and says, I want that now. It floods your system with desire and overrides your caution. Same with revenge trading. You take a loss, it hurts, your ego takes a hit, and now your brain's in threat mode. You want to win it back, not for strategy, but to repair your self-image. You trade to soothe your ego, not grow your account. Same with overtrading. You're bored, you're anxious, your brain wants stimulation, and a trade, even a bad one, gives you that little rush of dopamine. So you click again and again. Every time, it's not logic leading the way. It's emotion cloaked in justification. The saboteur has many faces, but one core wound. Self-sabotage doesn't look the same for everyone, but it always comes from one place: an internal identity that believes you're not safe, not good enough, or not in control. It might sound like, I need to prove I can win. If I miss this trade, I'll fall behind. I always mess this up anyway. These voices, they aren't you. They're the saboteur, an unconscious identity shaped by past experiences, unresolved emotion, and faulty beliefs. And here's the kicker. The saboteur doesn't care about money. It cares about keeping you in familiar emotional territory, even if that means failure. Because to the nervous system, familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar success. You're not broken. You're wired that way. Here's what you need to understand. You are not broken. You're just running a system that was never updated for this game. Trading is not natural. It's not how the brain evolved to operate. The market punishes impulsivity. It punishes emotional reactivity. It punishes everything your primal brain is designed to do. So unless you consciously retrain yourself, you will default to sabotage, even with the best strategies in the world. From awareness to power. Now that you see it, you can't unsee it. You've just made the most important shift. You've named the enemy. It's not out there. It's not the news. It's not the whales. It's not the algo. It's the part of you that wants certainty where none exists, wants pleasure without process, wants results without repetition. But here's the power. Once you can observe it, you can override it. And that's where we go next. From hijack to in control. In the next chapter, I'll show you how to disarm the saboteur, not by fighting it, but by understanding it, retraining it, and replacing its patterns with something better. We'll break down a practical process you can start using immediately, even on your next trade. A process rooted in behavioral science, mindfulness, and performance psychology. So if you're tired of being ruled by your impulses, if you're ready to stop losing, not to the market, but to yourself, then keep going. Because what comes next is not theory, it's transformation. How to identify and isolate your inner saboteur. You've named the enemy. Now it's time to meet it, face to face. Because the truth is, self-sabotage doesn't hide in the shadows. It lives in plain sight. It shows up in your routines, your habits, your inner voice. You just didn't know how to recognize it until now. The saboteur has a face. Self-sabotage isn't just a behavior. It's a pattern, a reflex, a persona. It's the version of you that pretends to want success but secretly fears it. The part of you that says it wants discipline but resists structure. The one that dreams of winning trades but panics when the real moment arrives. And here's what most traders don't realize. Your saboteur has a personality. Sometimes it's angry, sometimes it's anxious, sometimes it's lazy, sometimes it's cocky, but it's always rooted in one thing: a fear that has not been addressed. Meet the three faces of the trading saboteur. Let's make this real. Here are three common archetypes of the inner saboteur in traders. See which one sounds familiar. Des 1, the addict. This one craves stimulation, not results. It loves the rush of entering a trade, not the discipline of waiting for one. It hates boredom. It needs action. Symptoms: overtrading out of boredom, entering without confirmation, feeling empty when not in a trade. Inner belief: if I'm not active, I'm falling behind. But here's the twist: it's not chasing profit, it's chasing dopamine. 2. The prover. This one wants to prove something to others, to the market, to itself. Every trade becomes a performance. Every loss feels like humiliation. It doesn't trade probabilities, it trades ego. Symptoms: doubling down after a loss, refusing to exit when wrong, needing to be right more than being profitable. Inner belief: if I lose, it means I'm a failure. The result? It trades for validation and gets punishment instead. 3. The avoider. This one fears responsibility. It doesn't want to make the hard decisions, so it avoids action or freezes or delays. Symptoms: second-guessing every setup, missing entries because of hesitation, being paralyzed by perfectionism. Inner belief: if I don't commit, I can't be blamed. This saboteur confuses safety with indecision and slowly bleeds potential with inaction. Which one are you? Or are you all three? Here's the truth: you're not just one saboteur, you're a blend, and different parts of you come online in different emotional states. You might be the addict during high volatility, the prover after a losing streak, the avoider when real money is on the line. That's why self-awareness isn't optional. It's essential. How to catch the saboteur in real time. You can't change what you don't notice. So here's the first tool: the saboteur journal. Every time you feel yourself slipping before, during, or after a trade, pause and ask: 1. What emotion am I feeling right now? 2. What story is playing in my head? 3. Which saboteur does this sound like? Write it down. Every time, not for days, for weeks, you'll begin to see a pattern, not just in your trades, but in your triggers. And once you see the pattern, you're no longer inside it, you're observing it. And that's where the power begins. From observer to operator, this is where we shift roles. You stop being the puppet of your emotions, you become the operator of your behavior. Let me be clear, you're not trying to kill the saboteur, you're learning to contain it. Because that part of you, it developed to protect you from shame, from fear, from risk. But now, that protection is costing you everything. So we contain it by doing 2 things. 1, creating separation. 2, installing new responses. Step 1, give it a name. Give it a voice. Here's an exercise that sounds weird, but works. Next time you feel that self-sabotage impulse rising, try this. Imagine that part of you as a person sitting next to you. Give it a name. Let it speak. For example, I'm the chaser. I hate waiting. I hate missing out. I just want to feel alive. Write down what it says. Let it rant. Let it confess. Then ask, what are you afraid of? You'll be shocked at the answers. And for the first time, you'll see that saboteur as a wounded part, not a monster. Step 2, create the new voice, the inner operator. Now create a second character, the version of you that acts with intention, not reaction. This is the operator. The sniper, the calm executor. Give it a voice too. I'm the operator, says I don't need constant trades. I need edge. I follow process, not feelings. Start giving that voice more airtime. Literally say it out loud before trading. Write it on your desk. Repeat it until it's louder than your sabotage reflex. Because this is not mindset. This is identity engineering. And every time you choose that operator voice, you train your nervous system to follow it. Now that you've met the saboteur and installed the operator, in the next part, we go deep into pattern interruption. How to create pause points before you act, how to change your response in the heat of emotion, and how to make discipline automatic, not forced. Because from this point on, we stop trying to be disciplined and start becoming the trader who already is. Ready? Let's go. From reaction to response, rewiring your trading reflexes. You've met the saboteur. you've heard its voice, and now you're starting to realize just how often it's been in control. But here's the question that changes everything. What if discipline didn't have to be a daily battle? What if you could make calm, focused trading your default setting, not a forced state? This part is about rewiring, not just thinking differently, but training your nervous system to respond differently. Because successful trading isn't about having superhuman willpower. It's about having pre-installed responses that work when emotion hits hardest. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your patterns. Let that sink in. Every time you say, next time I'll do better, you're relying on willpower. But when real emotions hit, fear, FOMO, tilt, you don't default to your plans. You default to your training. And if you haven't trained your brain to pause, reflect, and choose, you'll always react, you'll always repeat, and you'll always regret it. So let's install something better. The 4-step pattern interrupt protocol. This is a practical method I call PNRR. 1, pause. 2, name. 3, redirect. 4, replace. Let's walk through each step because these aren't just tips. They're how you regain sovereignty over your trading behavior. 1, pause. Break the loop. This is the most important 2 seconds of your trading day. You feel it coming. The urge to enter early, double down, exit too soon. Your heart races, your mouse hovers, your body tenses. That's your cue. Pause. Literally stop. Remove your hand from the mouse. Lean back in your chair. Take 1 deep breath. Interrupt the pattern before it owns you. Because if you don't pause, you're not trading, you're reacting. And reaction is how traders die. 2, name. Label the emotion. Next, give it a name. Not a judgment, not a story, just a label. I'm feeling FOMO. I'm feeling shame. I'm feeling urgency. Why it works. Labeling an emotion reduces its power by shifting brain activity from the limbic system to the prefrontal cortex, from chaos to clarity. In short, naming gives you space, and space gives you power. 3, redirect. Shift your attention. Now that you've paused and labeled, redirect your attention. Focus on something non-emotional, tactical, and grounded. Examples: reread your checklist, open your journal and write 1 line. Ask, does this trade meet my criteria? This step is crucial because emotion narrows your focus. Redirecting helps you widen it and regain perspective. 4, replace. Install the chosen response now. Choose. Not impulsively, not reactively, but with full awareness. Do you enter, skip, reduce size, walk away? Whatever it is, you're no longer on autopilot. You're replacing a reflex with a response. And that shift from reaction to response is the birth of self-mastery. Practice it before you need it. Elite performers know you don't train during the game, you train before it. So don't wait for your next meltdown to try this. Take 10 minutes today. Close your eyes. Visualize a trade where you usually sabotage. Run the protocol. Pause. Name the emotion. Redirect to the checklist. Replace with the right action. Visualization, repetition, neural rewiring. You're teaching your brain, next time this trigger hits, we do something different. Install the buffer zone into your trading process. Want an instant upgrade? Add a 5-minute rule between signal and entry. No instant execution. No click the second a candle closes. Wait 5 minutes. Breathe. Let the emotion flare, then settle, then decide. This tiny delay rewires your decision-making under stress because impulsive trades don't need confirmation, they need containment. Build habits that train calm into your system. Rewiring doesn't stop at the chart. The most consistent traders I know meditate daily, journal after every session, exercise regularly, maintain structured routines. Why? Because calm is not a mood. It's a trained nervous system. You want composure? At the chart, you need to build it away from the chart. A final word on identity. Every time you pause instead of panic, label instead of lash out, respond instead of react, You're not just improving execution, you're becoming someone else. Not the anxious, impulsive, fragile version of you, but the one who acts like a professional because they've trained like one. This is real mindset work, not mantras, not motivation, but moment by moment decisions that reshape your reflexes. Coming next, building a system that protects you from yourself. Now that you've learned how to respond, it's time to build a system that makes those responses automatic. Because the best traders, they don't trust their emotions. They trust their systems. In part 5, we'll build your trading operating system, checklists, behaviors, rituals, everything designed to keep you in alignment even when the market goes to war. You ready? Let's lock it in. Building a system that runs on logic, not emotion. You've made it halfway. You've confronted the saboteur. You've learned to pause, label, redirect, and respond. Now it's time to build something that protects you, not just from the market, but from yourself. Because let's be brutally honest, without a system, your trading will always default to emotion. And emotion, it doesn't care about your goals. It cares about survival, safety, and short-term dopamine. So today, we build a system that makes discipline the path of least resistance. System. First, emotion later. Here's the biggest lie in trading. I'll follow my plan once I'm in the right mindset. That's backwards. You don't rise to the level of your feelings, you fall. You fall to the strength of your systems. The best traders don't wait to feel disciplined. They follow their process and let consistency create confidence. Emotion is unstable. Systems are reliable. Just if you want reliable results, you need a process that removes decision-making when emotion is loudest. Let's build it. The 3 pillars of a system that defends you. A true trading system doesn't just tell you what to do, it protects you from doing what you shouldn't. There are 3 pillars. 1, clarity. No hesitation or improvisation under stress. 2, automation. No reliance on willpower. 3, feedback. Evolve without emotional bias. 1, clarity. Remove ambiguity, create precision. Most traders don't fail because their strategy sucks. They fail because their process is vague. If price looks strong, I'll enter. If the setup feels right, I'll size up. Feelings are not strategies. A clear system answers these questions. What exact criteria define a valid setup? What timeframes do you use for entry versus context? How do you define market conditions, trending, choppy, etc.? What rules determine risk per trade and position size? Clarity, fewer choices. Fewer choices, less emotion. Write your rules like a checklist. Binary logic, yes or no. Charmin 2, automation. Eliminate willpower from the equation. Discipline isn't about being strong, it's about being structured. Stop trusting your mood. Start trusting your automation. Examples, pre-market ritual, 15-minute checklist, entry-exit alerts. Let your platform handle signals, hard stops and targets. Set and forget. Trading journal templates reduce friction. Daily review blocks use calendar reminders. The more you automate, the less your emotions can hijack. A sniper doesn't say, "Do I feel like shooting today?" He follows protocol, because in pressure, instinct must follow design. Feedback. Trade reality, not ego. Your system must learn faster than your emotions adapt. That means continuous feedback. Track this daily. Strategy performance, win rate, RR, expectancy, emotional triggers before or after trades, rule violations, yes, no, and why, energy focus level. Review weekly. What pattern is working? What mistakes are repeating? What behavior needs refinement? This isn't just data, it's how you train your future self. A system without feedback is a hopeful guess. A system with feedback is a weapon. The system is your emotional firewall. Picture this. The market spikes, your heart jumps, your brain screams, "Get in now." But your checklist says, "No confirmation." Rule number 3, wait for retest. So you wait, not because you're superhuman, but because your system took the bullet for you. You don't have to win every emotional battle. You just need a system that absorbs the first hit. Case study, the trader who systemized his survival, meet Alex, smart, analytical, emotional. 1 week he'd crush it, the next blow it up. Why? He relied on feeling in the zone. But under pressure, the saboteur took over. So he stopped trading for a month and built a system. Set up checklist, 6 rules, no exceptions, size calculator, fixed risk per trade, exit strategy based on trailing ATR, daily review, 1 checklist, 1 journal note. Result, 6 months of consistency, no big wins, no big losses, just a stable equity curve, stable mind. Alex didn't become a better trader, he became a better operator, and the system made it possible. Your turn, design or drift. You have 2 choices. 1, keep relying on discipline and get crushed when it fails. 2, build a system and let structure carry you through chaos. The system is the adult in the room, the parachute when your mindset breaks, the bodyguard between you and your worst impulse. You can't trust the market. You can't always trust your emotions, but you can trust your system if you build it right. Next, the identity shift that changes everything. Now that your system is in place, there's one final transformation. Stop seeing yourself as a trader trying to be disciplined. Start becoming the version of you for whom discipline is identity. In part 6, we go deep into identity shifting, how to stop trying to act like a pro trader and finally become one. Ready to evolve? Let's go. Identity shift from trying to being. You've built the system, you've trained the response, you've silenced the saboteur. Now comes the final transformation, the shift that separates temporary discipline from permanent change. Because let's get real, as long as you see yourself as someone trying to be a disciplined trader, you'll always be fighting, always struggling, always holding back impulses, always one emotional spike away from sabotage. But what if that struggle could end? What if you didn't have to try to be consistent anymore because you already were? This is the identity shift. And once you make it, you stop performing. You start embodying. You're not building habits. You're becoming someone else. Most traders focus on behavior. I need to journal more. I need to follow my rules. I need to stop chasing trades. But behavior without identity is fragile. It breaks under pressure. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. And if your identity is still wired to believe I'm impulsive, I'm inconsistent, I'm always messing this up, then no system will hold. No checklist will save you because your actions always return to what you believe you are. What is an identity? Let's define it clearly. Your identity is not your job, not your goals. It's the internal narrative that drives your behavior when no one's watching. It's what you believe you deserve. It's what you expect from yourself under stress. It's what feels normal to you, even if that normal is failure. So when you say, I always blow up when I get emotional, I'm just not a patient person, I've never been good with discipline, you're not describing yourself. You're reinforcing yourself. Every time you repeat those beliefs, silently or aloud, you're strengthening the very identity that sabotages you. The shift from performance to personhood. So how do we change that? You don't just act differently. You become someone different. At first you ask, what would a disciplined trader do in this situation? That's awareness. That's a start. But eventually you must stop acting like that person and start being that person. You don't just follow the plan. You are someone who always follows the plan. You don't just manage risk. You are someone who respects capital like a craftsman respects his tools. You don't just meditate for mindset. You are someone who values clarity as non-negotiable. Discipline stops being something you apply. It becomes something you express. Step 1, define the identity you want to embody. Let's get specific. Close your eyes. Picture the version of you who already trades consistently. Ask, how do they think before a trade? How do they speak to themselves after a loss? What habits are automatic for them? What do they no longer tolerate? Write it down. Describe that identity in vivid detail. Give it a name: the operator, the professional, the sniper. Then ask, what would it feel like to be that version of me today? Step 2. Bridge the gap with identity-aligned action. Identity is built through evidence. You don't become someone new by chanting affirmations. You become someone new by accumulating proof. Pause before reacting. Follow your rules when you don't feel like it. Walk away instead of overtrading. Each action is a vote for the identity you want to become. Not perfection. Alignment. Ask yourself daily, what would the operator do right now? Then do it, even in the smallest way. With enough repetition, your brain stops seeing it as effort and starts seeing it as truth. Step 3, speak the identity into existence. Words, beliefs, behavior, reality. Speak like the person you're becoming. Replace, I hope this works. I trust my system. I always screw this up. I learn, I adapt, I execute. I can't control myself. I act with clarity and intent. Don't wait for it to feel real. Speak it until it becomes real. You're not faking it. You're forging it. Step 4, design an environment that reinforces the identity. You don't grow in isolation. You grow in ecosystems. Ask yourself, is your workspace clean or chaotic? Do you start your day in reaction or with intention? Are the people and voices around you reflecting your desired identity or contradicting it? Your environment can anchor your past or amplify your evolution. Build rituals, curate your inputs, protect your mental space like it's sacred, because your identity isn't just in your head. It's in your habits, your space, your decisions. The shift is subtle until it's unstoppable. At first, it feels forced, awkward, even fake. But one day you sit down, open your charts, and realize you're not trying anymore. You're just being. That's the shift. You've rewired the default. You've reshaped the reflex. You've become the trader who doesn't need to remember who they are because they already know. Coming up, the Phoenix Protocol, rebirth after every fall. The identity shift has begun, but you'll still fall. You'll still slip. The difference? You'll rise faster, stronger, clearer. In Part 7, we reveal the Phoenix Protocol, a step-by-step method for emotional recovery, mindset reset, and bounce-back mastery. Because elite traders don't avoid setbacks. They rise through them. Let's rise. The Phoenix Protocol, rising after every emotional fall. You did everything right. You followed your checklist. You managed risk. You executed with discipline. But the trade still failed. Or worse, you slipped. You broke your rule. You sabotaged again. And now, shame, frustration, self-hate. That voice in your head whispering, see, you'll never change. Let's pause right here, because this is where most traders spiral. But this is also where elite traders transform. The difference isn't who avoids falling, it's who knows how to rise. And for that, you need a protocol. The Phoenix Protocol, inspired by the myth of the phoenix, the bird that burns, dies, and is reborn. This protocol is about transmuting failure into fuel. Because here's the truth, every emotional meltdown is a message. But if you don't decode it, it becomes a pattern. The Phoenix Protocol has 3 phases. 1, recovery. Dysregulate your nervous system. 2, reflection. Extract the true lesson. 3, rebirth. Rewire the identity from the inside out. Phase 1, recovery. Reset the system before it repeats. You can't think clearly in chaos. So the first step after a breakdown isn't logic. It's nervous system recovery. That means stop trading immediately. No, just one more trap. Step away from the screen, literally. Move your body, walk, stretch, breathe. Activate parasympathetic response, cold water, slow breathing, grounding. Why? Because your brain is in fight or flight. Your logic is offline. Your emotions are driving. If you try to figure it out in this state, you'll only reinforce shame, not insight. Think of this as emotional first aid. Stop the bleeding, then process. Pasher, phase 2, reflection. What actually happened? Once you're calm, seek clarity, not judgment. Ask yourself, 1, what exactly triggered the emotional reaction? Losing streak, personal stress, ego spike. 2, what did I feel before, during, and after the trade? Name the emotion, no judgment. Panic, rushed hope, regret. 3, what part of me was driving this action? Was it the addict, the prover, the avoider? Identify the saboteur. 4, what rule or value did I abandon and why? The lesson isn't the loss, it's the misalignment. Then write this sentence. If I had stayed in alignment with my highest self, I would have. That's your mirror. It doesn't reflect who you were, it reveals who you're becoming. Phase 3, rebirth. Recommit from a deeper place. Here's where most traders mess up. They reflect, they feel bad, and then they do nothing. Or worse, they jump back in too fast. Don't. Rebirth needs ritual. 1, write a personal trading vow, not a goal, not a quote, a vow from your higher self to yourself. Example, I vow to never trade from desperation. I vow to respect my capital as a reflection of my clarity. I vow to pause, breathe, and choose, even when I want to react. Say it out loud, print it, post it, anchor it into reality. Shaft 2, create a reset ritual. Before your next session, do this. Clean your workspace, light a candle or incense, play one specific track, breathe for 2 minutes, eyes closed. Read your vow aloud. Sounds weird? It's not. The brain needs ceremony to register transformation. Don't skip it. Return to the chart, slowly with intention. Your next session is not about money, it's about alignment. Set one goal. Today I act as my new identity, not my old habits. Size down, simplify. Execute like a monk. You're not trading, you're training. That's what protects rebirth from relapse. The power of emotional anti-fragility. Fragile traders break under pressure. Resilient traders survive it. Anti-fragile traders grow from it. That's the Phoenix mindset. You don't avoid pain, you alchemize it. You don't fear emotion, you use it as feedback. Every time you fall, you rise with more wisdom, more awareness, more precision. Over time, your meltdowns become milestones. Your worst days become your sharpest pivots. From rock bottom to breakthrough, Maya's story. Maya blew up her account 3 times. Each time, she promised herself, never again. Each time, she spiraled again until she stopped everything and built her own Phoenix protocol, trigger tracker, post-mistake ritual, daily vow, weekly review with her inner operator. 6 months later, she wasn't just consistent. She was calm, confident, centered. She said, I used to think emotional mistakes made me weak. Now I realize they were my invitations to evolve. That's Phoenix level thinking, and it's available to you right now. And then coming up, integrating the new you, daily systems for lasting mastery. The rebirth has begun. Now we move into integration, where this version of you becomes your new baseline. In part 8, we'll build your daily structure for emotional resilience, blending performance psychology, trader rituals, and identity conditioning. Because transformation isn't a moment, it's a practice. Let's lock it in. Daily integration, rituals, routines, and resilience. Change doesn't stick just because you had a breakthrough. The phoenix rises, but if it doesn't learn to walk every day in its new skin, it burns again, quietly, from the inside out. That's why this part matters, because transformation without integration is just inspiration, and inspiration fades. But structure builds permanence. The integration phase, where identity becomes reality. Here's the truth. You don't need more mindset hacks. You need a daily ecosystem that reinforces who you've chosen to become. You've done the inner work. You've shifted your identity. You've rebuilt from emotional collapse. Now ask yourself, how do I live like that person consistently? The answer lies in rituals, routines, and reflection. Not weekly, daily, without fail. Let's build your system for lasting mastery. Step 1, morning priming. Win the first hour. How you begin your day determines how you face pressure. Elite traders don't start in chaos, they engineer clarity before the market opens. Morning priming protocol, 12 minutes. 1. Silence. Sit. Breathe. Let the brain settle. 2. Identity anchor. Read your trading vow aloud. I am calm. I execute with intention. I trust my system. 3. Visualization. Picture yourself trading flawlessly, spotting clean setups, ignoring noise, smiling after managing a trade with discipline. 4. Checklist review. Prime your logic before emotion interferes. Do this before phones, emails, or charts. No exceptions, excuses. Step 2, execution ritual. Enter with intention. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being deliberate. Before every trade, pause. Breathe. Hands off the mouse. Ask 3 questions. 1. Does this setup meet my rules? 2. Am I calm or is emotion pushing me? 3. If this trade loses, can I still respect how I handled it? If any answer is no, walk away. This is your discipline checkpoint, not to restrict you, to protect you from self-sabotage. Step 3, post-session reflection. Cement the lesson. Most traders close their platform and call it a day. Mistake. The real growth comes from how you process what just happened. Daily 5-minute journal prompt. 1. What did I do well today? 2. Where did I drift from process and why? 3. What emotion was strongest today? 4. What would my ideal self have done differently? Be short, be raw, be honest. This is identity reinforcement, 1 line at a time. Step 4. Weekly review. Spot invisible patterns. 1 day of emotion, noise. 5 days, a trend. Every weekend, review your week. What emotional triggers repeated? What rule violations showed up? When was I in flow? When wasn't I? Which identity showed up more? The operator or the saboteur? Then choose 1 weekly focus. This week I will protect silence before entries, track emotional spikes, act like a professional, not a gambler. Weekly rhythm, weekly refinement. Step 5, protect the temple. Design your mental environment. Your brain is a sponge. Every input matters. Ask yourself, do I follow traders who amplify my discipline or trigger my FOMO? Is my feed filled with education or empty noise and flexes? Do I surround myself with those who share process or only profits? Clean it up. You can't train focus in a distracted environment. You can't evolve in a space built on chaos. Curate your inputs like your edge depends on it. Because in truth, it does. Make mastery boring. Here's the trap. Most traders think consistency should feel exciting. Wrong. Mastery feels boring until you realize boredom is actually peace. No more adrenaline, no more panic, just rhythm, precision, presence. That's the trader who survives. That's the trader who scales. If your rituals feel mundane, good. It means they're working. Coming up, emotional immunity. How to stay calm in chaos. Now that your daily structure is in place, let's go deeper, because even with perfect routines, the market will test you. News spikes, flash crashes, sudden drawdowns. In part 9, we'll build your emotional immunity, so chaos never cracks your system, and you stay anchored no matter what hits the chart. Let's bulletproof your brain. Emotional immunity, staying calm in market chaos. Let's face it, the market doesn't care about your routines. It doesn't care that you meditated, that you journaled, that you followed your checklist all week, because chaos will come. News breaks, volatility spikes, a flash crash erases your monthly gains, you hit max drawdown in 3 days. In those moments, it's not your strategy that decides your fate. It's your emotional immunity. The question is not, will I be tested? The question is, what happens when I am? What is emotional immunity? Emotional immunity is the ability to stay grounded, Not because the market is stable, but because you are. It doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means fear doesn't drive the bus. It doesn't mean you never react. It means your reaction doesn't override your system. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about processing it without becoming it. Why most traders collapse under pressure. Most traders are fine until they're not. 1 loss, manageable. 2, anxiety. 3, spiral. 4, plan is gone, logic is gone, account is next. Why? Because they operate on emotional fragility. Their confidence is surface level, built on recent wins, not internal resilience. So when volatility hits, they don't just lose capital, they lose control. What emotional immunity looks like in action. Trader A, fragile, takes a loss, revenge trades, self-crashes. Trader B, immune, takes a loss, breathes, reviews data, waits for clarity, responds from structure, not panic. Same market, different outcome. It's not about IQ, it's about internal capacity. Let's build yours. 3 pillars of emotional immunity. Emotional immunity isn't something you're born with. It's trained like a muscle. The 3 pillars. 1, self-regulation, not calm the body before calming the mind. 2, resilience reframing, redefine stress and pressure. 3, emotional neutrality, detach identity from outcomes. Shed 1, self-regulation, master the body before the mind. When emotion hits, logic disappears. That's biology. Your nervous system floods. You can't reason your way out. You must reset the system. Tools, box breathing. In forward 4s, out 4s, hold 4s, cold splash. Reset the vagus nerve in seconds. Tactile grounding. Feel your desk, your feet, return to the present. Use these before the trade, not after a meltdown. It's your emotional armor. Trained daily. 2, resilience, reframing. Change what stress means to you. Stress isn't the enemy. Your interpretation of it is. A drawdown is not doom. A loss is not failure. Unless you say it is. Ask yourself better questions during chaos. What's the lesson here? Is this fear or fact? How would my best self respond right now? This is cognitive reframing. It turns pain into progress instead of poison. Resilient traders think, this isn't destruction, this is my training ground. 3, emotional neutrality. Trade the chart, not your worth. Say this out loud. I am not my P&L. If your self-worth rises and falls with your account, you'll be a prisoner of performance. Detach. A red day, failure. A green day, genius. The chart is a mirror, not a verdict. Ask this after every session. What worked? What didn't? What's next? That's neutrality. That's where the professionals live. Daily habits to reinforce emotional immunity. 1, morning state check. Before charts, ask, what emotional residue am I bringing today? Clear it, or it will cloud your trades. 2, mid-session breath breaks. Every hour, 3 deep breaths, no matter how you feel. This is not for emergencies, it's preventative training. 3, end-of-day emotional summary. In your journal, answer, when did emotion spike today? How did I respond? What will I do next time? This builds awareness patterns, the foundation of emotional resilience. Turning panic into power, Jackson's story. Jackson made $30K in 3 months, then gave it back in 6 days. He froze, he overreacted, he spiraled, but instead of quitting, he trained. Morning breath work, daily emotional tracking, identity anchoring, weekly chaos simulations. 6 months later, he's calm, profitable, unshakable. His motto, when it gets wild, I get calm. That's emotional immunity in motion. Coming up, mastery in motion, becoming the trader who no longer wavers. You've come far. You've reset. You've reframed. You've rewired. You've risen. Now in part 10, we bring it all together. We complete the transformation, becoming the trader who no longer wavers, because they no longer act with discipline. They are discipline. The mission ends where mastery begins. Let's finish strong. Mastery in motion, becoming the trader who is the system. Here we are, the final chapter, the last mile, and the most important truth of them all. Real mastery is not when you use a system. Real mastery is when you are the system. You don't rise and fall with your emotions. You don't chase signals, chase losses, chase wins. You don't need hype, motivation, or luck. You've become a structure, a rhythm, a calm current moving through chaos, focused, unshaken, present. You are no longer the storm. You are the stillness inside it. What is mastery? Really? Let's kill the fantasy. Mastery isn't loud. It's not viral screenshots, not dramatic comebacks. Mastery is boring, predictable, silent, elegant. It's showing up daily, protecting the process regardless of the result, honoring your edge like a sacred vow even when no one is watching. It's not about doing more, it's about doing less, better. Mastery is not the fire, it's the forge. Signs you've entered true trading mastery. You'll know you've crossed into mastery when you get more joy from execution than from results. You feel peace during red days because you stayed in alignment. You no longer need the trade because you're whole with or without it. You handle chaos with pause, not panic. You journal without shame because reflection is power, not punishment. You trade like a professional, even when no one is watching. That's real power. The shift from discipline to identity integration. Most traders ask, how do I stay disciplined? That question dies the moment you fully integrate the identity. Why? Because you no longer remember your rules. You embody them. There's no gap between thought and action, no split between value and execution. You've become congruent, and congruence is unshakable. Stash, the invisible work becomes your advantage. What people see: calm entries, consistent results, fewer but cleaner trades, neutrality under pressure. What they don't see: the deep breath before clicking, the vow whispered before opening charts, the 7-day silence waiting for true alignment, the honest journal after a loss, the quiet no to ego, drama, and self-sabotage. That's the work that builds freedom. Becoming the system. A new way to move through markets. Visualize this. You log in, scan the charts. There's no rush, no chasing. You see your setup, you wait. You act only when aligned. You lose a trade and don't flinch. You win and don't celebrate. Because either way, you were in integrity. You're not here to beat the market. You're here to be unmovable inside it. That's the trader who lasts. That's the trader who scales. That's you. Hash your final operating principle. Stillness over stimulation. Most traders chase noise, dopamine, drama, but not you. You've chosen stillness, signal, simplicity. Calm is not the absence of chaos. Calm is the decision not to be consumed. Stillness is your edge. Process is your armor. Awareness is your weapon. And the market? It's just the canvas. You bring the brush. The final identity declaration. Read this slowly. Let it land. I am not chasing profits. I am cultivating presence. I don't need certainty. I create clarity. I don't control outcomes. I control execution. I am not my P&L. I am my process. And this process is who I am now and every time I face the market. That is mastery, not a tactic, not a hack, a way of being. You don't trade anymore. You move through markets as the system itself. This is not the end. It's the beginning of mastery in motion. If you've made it here, you've crossed a threshold most never will. You've faced fear, confronted sabotage, wired reactions, reclaimed power. But the final test is this: living it, breathing it, choosing it again and again. Mastery isn't a moment, it's a practice, a quiet, sacred, daily practice. So stay in motion, stay in your system, stay in truth. You are the operator, you are the order, you are the edge. Let's trade. If this hits something real, good, because awareness is the beginning. But practice is what changes your life. So if you're done with impulse, if you're ready to trade from identity, subscribe, stay sharp, show up. This isn't just content, it's calibration. And remember, you're not chasing the market. You're becoming the kind of mind the market can't shake. See you in the next session.